Hi everybody, I'm Melinda Gallant and I want to welcome you to another Cape Conversation. Oh, we've got a good one for you today. You know, it's very scary to lose your sight. It's very scary to even have to wear glasses when you haven't had to wear them for a long time. So today we're going to talk about losing your sight and all the things that you can do, not to necessarily prevent it, but if you lose your sight, how you can help yourself get around, do things like you've always done. So come along, let's have another Cape Conversations. Hi everybody, I'm here today with Dina Rosenbaum from the Carroll Center for the Blind. So good to see you.
You too. Thank you for having me today.
All right, so tell me all about yourself, what you do, what is the Carroll Center for the Blind? Please tell me, because I hear it's a fabulous, fabulous entity.
We are. We're sort of a little bit of a hidden gem. We're located in Newton, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
We are a rehabilitation and education facility that works with people who have vision loss or who are blind. We work with all ages of individuals, all stages of vision loss, and we primarily provide people with the skills in counseling to live with vision loss and try to live independently. So we work with kids to develop skills and be independent in their schools and homes. We work with seniors to develop some basic skills so they can stay in their homes or be as independent as they're possible. And then we help everybody in between who want to go back to work or go to college. We really meet people where they're at in terms of their vision loss and help them. So we have a lot of professionals in the field who work with individuals, and they can either come to the Carroll Center or some of our services are provided in your home community.
Okay, so that said, you're way up there in Newton. Oh my gosh, you're over the bridge.
I know. Oh no.
Oh no. So, but you do provide services down here on the Cape, right?
We do. We have a couple of instructors who actually live on the Cape, who go to people's homes or jobs or colleges or schools and work with people in their homes. So as an example, we have what we call orientation and mobility instructors, and they will help people travel safely within their home, with or without a cane, helping them travel to medical appointments or just in their own community, helping maybe some students who live on the Cape who need to be in school and independent in their classrooms. And then we have some what's called rehab teachers who will go to homes and help people just do simple things. When you get up on a daily basis, everything you have to do, and if you didn't have vision or you didn't have good vision, from making and pouring a cup of coffee, to taking your medicine, to reading your mail, to going out to an appointment. So we help you with all those things and to be able to do them without or with little vision.
So obviously the demographics of Cape Cod is primarily older people. I mean, Sandwich is really kind of fortunate that we have a thriving younger community. However, there aren't a lot of young people on Cape Cod. They're mostly older people. So are these services provided through like senior centers, or do they have to call you? Is it through a doctor? Let me say that I got up one day and all of a sudden my vision was a little off, and I go to the doctor and he says it's going to get worse and worse and worse. I've got macular degeneration, which as we all know is really awful. Would I call you? Would he call you? What happens?
Well, there's several entry points to get services to the Carroll Center, so they're available to anybody.
Yeah.
But the majority of people who, if they're seeing an eye care professional, which I hope everybody is,
at least once a year,
at
right?
least once a year, especially if you're seniors, maybe more often if you have a condition. At some point, when you meet the eligibility for what they call legal blindness, then doctors are required by state law to refer you to an agency called the Commission for the Blind. And the Commission for the Blind would meet with you and say, where are you having trouble? Let's talk about what we can do to help you. And then they may make a referral to us for a mobility instructor to come to your home or to get some other services, or maybe come to the Carroll Center for more intensive programs. But we also get referrals directly from doctors, and we get a lot of referrals from families, just caregivers looking for help for their family member and trying to seek out what services are available.
So do you, I should ask you, what do you do with them?
So I'm the, sorry, I'm the Chief Program Officer, which means
Right.
I oversee all the programs.
Yeah.
So we have the Carroll Center has about 120 employees.
Wow.
About more than half of them work under me.
Wow.
I have a couple of managers and staff that provide direct services.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, so do you offer, when you say services, would that include seeing eye dogs? Would it include canes? Would it include the extra things that you might need if
Yeah,
you're
so
going
we do not provide or
Service
train on
dogs?
service dogs, but we work with the agencies that
I
do.
see.
But we provide canes, provide cane instruction, help you identify low vision devices. We have a low vision therapist who will help you look at what you're trying to do and what devices work.
Sure.
And we have a store that sells products.
No way.
So you can walk in, you can order online, you can call and order products. We sell about 500 different assistive technology products for
Wow.
people. So, you know, it could be I need a cane to travel safely, I need a magnifier to read my mail. There's something called the Say When little device. You put it on the edge of your coffee cup, and as you pour something into it, when it gets toward the top, it starts beeping or playing music to let you know you've hit the close to the top of the
Wow.
device.
How wonderful is that?
Yeah. So, you know, especially people with diminished vision, you know, we often, you know, what I try to tell people is, even if you have low vision or some usable vision, you have to really think about what's the best way that I want to use it. So one of the frequent things that especially seniors lose is the ability to read. You know, especially I'm an avid reader, I like to read books. So we say, okay, let's get you books on audio. Let's find you audio methods, get you hooked up with the library, the Perkins Braille and Talking Book Library, to get you books on audio too. When people say, no, I really like to hold the book and listen to it. And I said, okay, but if you listen to books, then you can use your vision for other things. Let's try to get you use your vision for things that I can't give you, like your mail, that you need to use a magnifier or a
Right.
video magnifier to blow up on a big screen because you need that large magnification. Or, you know, try to use some of your vision around medication management. So we really, when it comes to low vision, no two people are exactly the same. Even if you have the exact same condition, everybody's unique and different. And so the solutions are very individualized for each person.
Sure.
But there are a lot of learning to live with vision loss is about organization and using methods to help you, from things like using a tray. You know, you go to McDonald's, get a tray, and putting your medication and organizing your medication on a tray, and using pill boxes, and using white cutting boards and black cutting boards for different things, like cut your onion on a black cutting board, you know, cut your tomato on a
makes
white
sense,
cutting
right?
board,
Yeah.
right, things like that. Use white coffee cups for your coffee, not black coffee cups, so you
Right.
can see the contrast. So a lot of it is just simple solutions for contrast and organization, and organizing your home that way as well, because many homes we go into have a lot of clutter in them. So we say, you know,
Oh my
let's
God, do you want to come to my house?
you're going to create a clear path in your home, organize things
Right,
on the counter, have an area where you have everything, like have your magnifier in the same place where you're going to read your mail, etc.
Right. So do you find that you're working with families as well, along with the person who might be that might have the issue?
Yes, and I think that's a great support, educating the family, because two things can happen when you lose your vision. Often when you lose your vision, you lose your sense of your place within your family, and you lose your independence. Of course, the big thing everybody loses is the ability to drive. And that's very difficult and frustrating. And if you were the person who did all the grocery shopping or ran the errands or went to the bank or drove family members, now you've lost that independence, but that role within your family.
Yeah.
So working with families to also allow the family member to be independent and use these solutions, but also educating the family about how they can support them.
Sure,
And kind of change the roles within the family. So maybe I was the one who ran out and did everything, and my partner did all the bills or, you know, online stuff, and now you reverse it, because now I'm visually impaired, but I could still use a computer with added equipment. So I do that stuff, and you run out and do the shopping and other stuff.
Right.
So there, again, it's just learning new ways to do things.
So, if you're normally called in by the family or by the person themselves, is that correct?
Or a professional working with
Okay.
them. You know,
Okay.
sometimes you're working with a physical therapist or an occupational therapist, or you're connected with another agency and they
Right.
refer you for services.
Now, I've only because I've seen the commercial on television about the person who is blind or has vision loss, and they can't tell day from night and night from day.
Right.
I've only seen this on.
Right.
And you know what? I never even thought about it till I saw the commercial.
Right.
God forbid if I ever, lost my sight, but and losing any form of your senses, I think, would be an awful, awful thing. But does that happen a lot, or is that really not true, or
Well,
or are they overhyping the medication?
well, when we say people who are blind, it's actually a small percentage who don't have any vision. So you go from having vision to having low vision to having I can make out objects but I can't see them clearly to I can only see light and darks to I'm totally blind.
Right.
So that ad is for a medication called non-24 for people who are likely totally blind, whose now circadian rhythm is off because they don't see light and dark, they don't see daytime and nighttime, so their body clock gets off. So the medication helps them put them back in the right clock system. So, but that's a very small percentage of the population. And especially seniors, it's often they're just losing vision and rarely do they go totally blind, but their vision gets diminished. And so, often for seniors, one of the biggest things that helps all seniors, low vision, is lighting. Having significant lighting, adding lighting, task lighting, to read your mail or do things, helps tremendously. And what often happens when you go into a senior's home? The lights aren't on, the shades are drawn, right? So we're like, open the shades, get more lights, get more floor lamps, etc. So again, they're not anything special, but just a professional helping them look at those things.
It is funny. Why is it that way? I mean, I am a person of a certain age, so I could be classified as that, but to me, light is, that is so, I don't like, in the evening, I don't want, to look like a football field with giant lights in my house. I'm much better at candlelight, looking at candlelight, than I am at bright light. However, I do need light, and I recognize that. And I do need light during the day. I've never quite understood the whole shades down business.
Yeah, and I think it's just a habit. I think they just, you when you're younger, you can open up the newspaper and read it anywhere.
Right.
But when you get older, you need more lighting, but you just don't think about, I should open the shades. I should go sit next to the lamp. Right. You just kind of, your habit is, I always read in this chair, and this chair doesn't have great lighting. But you just, that habit of, gee, I should move the chair, I should get another lamp. And I think that's where family members, caregivers kind of play a big role to kind of look at those things and make those things happen.
Sure, and you don't think about it. It just gradually kind of sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for me, especially men who have the chair in their home that they sit in, to say, no, but I want to read in this chair. And we're like,
well, then get a floor lamp.
No, or you need a magnifier, and you can't put the book there and hold it and have the light, and you're going to need to kind of set up a new arrangement. Right. So change is hard for people.
Right, it is. Well, that is true. That is true for sure. So if I had an issue, how would I personally or my family get a hold of Carroll
So
Center?
we have a website, carroll.org, carroll.org. Of course, you can call the Carroll Center.
What would happen?
So you would be connected direct to likely our director of missions, who would talk to you about what your experience.
Sandwich?
Who's Kathy Felt from
Right,
Sandwich?
from
Yes,
Sandwich.
a local person.
Yay.
Yes. And she would basically talk to you about what you're experiencing and what are your difficulties and frustration, and if you're connected to some agency that's supporting you, and then we try to figure out, is there a service or program we can provide, and how to make that happen for you.
I see.
So we're really, that's why I say we're really individualized programming, and I always say to people, call us. Even if you don't think we're going to be able to help you, we have the resources or know where they are. We may refer you to somebody else who can help you, but the blindness field is small. The vision, low vision, we work with a lot of low vision doctors, so we can connect you and help you figure out what's the best solution for you.
So you're in charge of programming, so does that mean individual programming for individuals, or does that mean do you do general classes as well?
We do both. So we
Okay.
have group programs, usually you attend a group program, but it's an individualized program for you. We have a lot of people that we serve are people who lose vision later in life, who really need some intensive skill training to get themselves back to living independently. So you take an individual who lives alone and all of a sudden they lost most of their vision, they would come to the Carroll Center for an intensive program.
I see.
But within that program, they're going to sort of get individualized classes, et cetera. A lot of what we do is one-on-one or small group, but we really look at how you're developing skills and where you might need more in one area, less in the other. You know, a man, I hate to stereotype, might say, I don't cook. You know, I call. I call in, I get food delivery, or I only use the microwave. Whereas a female head of household might come in and say, I want to be able to cook Thanksgiving dinner for my family.
Right.
So that's where the individualized component of the programming is. We try to tailor it to what your normal lifestyle was and you want it to be.
So are you the only center in Massachusetts like this, or are there several others?
We are the only center in Massachusetts, and there's only one other small center in New England. So we're the only residential center from Massachusetts down to New Jersey. There's no other residential center like this. There's only about 2 or 3 dozen centers like this in the United States.
How many people? I mean, is there a statistic for people who lose their sight?
So in the United States, there's about 1.5 million people who are legally blind.
Right, which means they can see a little bit maybe.
They may be able to see a little bit, but their vision loss is worse than 20/200 corrected, which is the definition of legal blindness.
I see.
More than half of those people are over the age of 60.
Really?
And we really identify that likely 1 in 3 individuals who are over 70 have a vision problem.
Wow.
And vision loss is one of the top 3 causes of falls among seniors.
Sure.
In Massachusetts, they estimate that there are about 150,000 people who are visually impaired, significantly visually impaired.
In all of Massachusetts?
Right. But only about 25,000 of them are active with the Commission for the Blind. So we recognize that there are a lot more people who are not connected to services or getting services.
Right. So if I have somebody, let's say, and maybe because my parents are gone, but if I know of somebody, an aunt or a neighbor, and I know they're struggling, could I call on their behalf?
Absolutely.
I see.
Yeah.
So you want to know who
we
they are.
want to know. We identify caregivers are probably our target audience to seek out assistance for somebody else.
Right.
So it's very common for caregivers to contact us and us to help figure out what the person needs and how we can help them and what services are appropriate for them. Are they connected for services through the state? Because the state does provide great services for individuals. So that's always our first question. Are they eligible? Has their doctor registered them? And if they're not eligible, what other services can we provide as well?
What's the number one thing somebody who's lost their sight that bothers them the most right out the gate?
Well, driving is number one.
Yeah.
And then just being able to read.
Sure.
Read the paper, read the mail, et cetera, I think is number 2.
Right.
I think those 2 are kind of the top items. And then we get people who, have individual like, I like to play the piano, I can't see the piano music. I like to crochet, I like to use my tools and your hobbies, right? Or, just being able to engage in the community. And a lot of people go to work, even people who are over working age are still engaged in employment or volunteering in some capacity.
Oh, sure.
So.
Well, and I mean, I hate to say this, but there are a lot of people over the age of 65 or 62 or whatever that still have to work. I mean, let's face it, Social Security isn't going to bail you out.
Right.
And if you don't have a pension or a 401k or something, a lot of people have to work into their 70s.
Right.
So,
and I think that's what people give up, I think, too easily when they are declared legally blind, is they give up their jobs too easily, because the doctor is usually not too hopeful that they can remain. But our philosophy is, unless you're driving a truck or a vehicle, you probably could maintain your job with some adaptations.
well, and that's just it. I mean, I would think if something like that happened to you, right, you lose your sight, that being active and trying to have some sort of normalcy would be a good thing.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
would stave off that depression and all
Yes,
of that.
and I think being educated about services and devices and techniques that can help you maintain some of your independence is critical. I think especially among seniors, because seniors often think vision loss is normal part of aging, and it's not. If you have a vision loss, there's something,
to the doctor.
go to the doctor, something's happening.
Right.
And there are, glasses or techniques or devices, magnifiers, lighting that can help you. But it's amazing to me how many coming to the Carroll Center or being connected to the Carroll Center educates you that you're not alone, that there are other people like this. And I know on the Cape there are some great support groups for people that we also try to connect you with. But to me, that's the biggest gain as well, is learning that you're not alone in this process, and then learning from others. So that's above and beyond even what the staff can do, is just getting those friendships.
Well, and the thing about people, the seniors, the problem is they tend to be isolated.
Right.
I mean, especially on the Cape, if you've been driving and now you don't drive and you have a single family home and you're not living in a congruent living facility, which not everybody does, it can be very lonely.
Yeah.
So if you have a son or daughter, ask them to call the Carroll Center, or you figure out how to call the Carroll Center, or go to carrollcenter.org.
Carroll.org.
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 It's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's very
Carroll.org.
easy.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, good.
Yeah. And that's, also the skills that we provide for independence also enable people to stay in their homes.
Sure.
Because that's the first thing that a family member might say. My, mother, father is legally blind. I'm going to have to move them to a nursing home or an assisted living or something. And that individual might say, no, I don't want to move.
Right.
So if we get them the skills, they can remain in their home.
Right.
For the most part, they can live successfully independent if they don't have other health conditions.
Well, and as you said, change is the hardest thing in the
Yes.
entire world. For a lot of people,
Yeah.
I personally love change. I do. I really do. It's like, oh my God, I got to do this again. However, most people want to stay in their own home.
Right.
They do. They don't want to go to a facility.
They don't
Now,
want to go to a
maybe they
facility.
should, but
Yeah.
they don't want to.
Yeah. Well, and I think I think if they have the ability, it's important for them to stay in the current living situation they're in. So that's sort of our goal, is that people can, gives them that extra few years to live in whatever environment they're in.
Geez, and all you have to do is get rid of the clutter.
Get rid of the clutter, organize, right, and learn some techniques.
Then learn some techniques.
Yeah.
So
I think be open.
Right. So it's not a good thing, but you can survive it and you can thrive.
Right.
And isn't that what it's all about?
Yes.
I mean, it's thriving
Yes.
and moving forward. You can
Yes.
still move forward even
Yeah.
with something like this.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, Amazon has this device called Alexa that everybody knows about, and they just came out with an Alexa C device that you can have this little tablet on your thing and say, Alexa, what is this? And it will tell you, it's the garlic powder, or it's your, medication for diabetes, it's your metformin, or so you can have so much more technology can help you maintain independence in the home.
Sure. Of course, she's always listening.
She's always listening. Well, but if you live alone, you
it's
have
not
some
a bad
company.
thing. That's true.
Right.
That's very true. Hello, Amazon.
Right.
That's funny. So how long has the Carroll Center been around?
We've actually have existed since 1936.
Oh my gosh.
We've been around for almost 85 years.
And it was
we'll be
started by
celebrating.
somebody named Carroll?
Actually, it was originally the Catholic Guild for the Blind. It was
way.
a service organization,
Oh, wow.
and in the 1940s, Father Thomas Carroll joined the staff, and he worked with blinded veterans who were returning from World War II, where they developed all this adaptive methods. And he brought them to the Carroll Center and developed a civilian program to give civilians the same training that the vets got. So that's how the agency sort of developed all these adaptive skills and training. He died in the early 70s, and the agency split from the church and became an independent nonprofit and was renamed in his memory.
Oh, how
so as the
wonderful.
Carroll Center, yeah.
Wonderful.
So we have a great history and legacy from him. He wrote a book called Blindness, What It Is, What It Does, and How to Live With It that's still used in universities today.
Really?
And he was very active in the civil rights movement. He marched with Martin Luther King in Selma, and he was a frequent presenter at the blinded veterans conferences, and there still exists today a Father Carroll luncheon that they still have in his memory.
Wow.
Yeah,
Isn't that
so
wonderful?
great legacy. He was very forward thinking back then, and many of what he set up, techniques and training he set up back then is still used today with some updated methods.
For all our gadgets
so,
today.
Right, exactly.
Our new gadgets. So is it a campus, did you
So we
tell
have
me?
about a 4-acre campus. We have
Wow.
3 buildings.
Yeah.
We're in a nice suburban neighborhood, so if you do come to the Carroll Center, you can stay there. We have a dormitory, so you can live there. You can go home on the weekends. About 60% of the persons who come to the Carroll Center are from Massachusetts. The rest come from neighboring
But they don't live there
states.
forever. They
No,
just come for a
just while
short
they're
period of
training.
time. Yeah,
So it's
okay.
like a mini college program, but
Yeah.
you could come for as little as a week or two to like 5 months, depending. Mostly the people stay 5 months are young adults, and our seniors mostly come for like a week or 2 or 3.
Right.
So again, your length of program is dependent upon what you need to learn and what your program would look like.
Right.
So, and then we still have people who come for a couple hours for iPhone training or a couple days. They just need to learn their computer or learn some devices.
So if you have a vision impairment, you're not alone.
Correct.
There are
Yes.
services out there that can help you, even here on the Cape,
Yes.
which is terrific.
Yes.
I mean, you know, a lot of times the Cape, I mean, obviously medically now with Cape Cod Healthcare so expansive, you know, we have a lot of those services that we had to go off Cape for. But your service is somebody that can come to us. You can go to you, or you can come to us.
Right, or a combination.
Or a combination
of both.
thereof.
Yes.
How
And
terrific is
yeah.
that?
And I think my messaging is if you're struggling with some vision issues, you don't need to live with it. And you
Right.
need to get, you know, professional eye care services, but there's more than that.
Right.
So even while you're struggling, let's get you a magnifier or some other device so that you can read your mail or do certain things and help you learn to organize.
That's
And
terrific.
travel safely, even, you know, just walking out of your house.
And a sandwich girl works for you.
Yes.
Or works
yes,
with you, I should
yes,
say.
Yes.
Kathy
So
Felt.
we're happy to have Kathy on our
Yes,
team.
that's
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a lot of people in Sandwich, you know, it's a small town, but it's a big town. It's kind of funny because we have a lot of people that work off Cape. So we're an odd population, odd demographic, because we have families, but then we have a lot of seniors here that have retired here. So it's nice to know that there's somebody local that, you know, might be able to help us or
Right,
direct
can be a
us.
resource,
Could be
yeah,
a
and a
resource.
resource to you, yes.
Yeah, we won't give
absolutely.
out her phone number, but
Right. Just call the Carroll Center.
Just
You're
call the
likely to
Carroll
get her,
Center.
right? Yeah.
That's right.
You're likely to
Excellent.
get connected to her.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
good.
I just want to thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
so nice to meet you.
Yeah, and thank you for having me today. This was great.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, it's so much fun to learn about what is out there that can really help all of us. And everybody is kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to call somebody, I'm embarrassed, I don't
Right.
know, I'll
Right.
bump into a piece of furniture.
Right.
You don't want to be
Right.
that person.
Right.
You want to know what you're doing. You want to be
Right.
able to move forward.
And this is about the individual, because I know a lot of people have stigmas about being blind or called blind or having a cane, but this is about you and your life, just as you said.
Right.
Would you rather keep bumping into things or be able to travel
Right.
more confidently,
Right.
even if it's using a cane?
Right.
So I think it's just about you and your independence and wanting to sort of maintain that, because as a senior especially, that's the number one thing, is to maintain their independence as
Right.
long as they can.
Right.
And they should.
Well,
Yeah.
we all should. I mean,
Yeah,
that's absolutely
absolutely.
true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. You were a delight.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck. And hopefully you'll get lots of calls from this.
I hope so.
I hope so
Thank
too.
you
Well, I hope
so
there
much.
aren't that many people that have vision impairment.
Well, we don't, right, we
Yeah.
don't. But those
However,
who are, yes,
that do,
get
we hope that
connected
they-
to
they
get
connect
services.
to-
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thanks
Yeah.
so much.
All right, thanks
Good
so
to
much.
see you.
All right, you too.
Wow, Dina Rosenbaum from the Carroll Center for the Blind. Even though it's not on Cape, you can take advantage of all their programs they offer if you know someone who has lost their sight, is losing their sight, or if you yourself have lost your sight or are losing your sight. She was delightful and it was so informative. So I thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time on another Cape Conversations.